player in Sanford the third. Essential coaches and pros, the X's and O's. This is the best. When we do what we know, so let's go. So yesterday, week 13, college football. The week before the last week at college football. And y'all, don't forget, your boy got a live show coming up. I don't know if it's going to be live pre-recorded, but it would be on the lookout for it. College Football Talk Daily. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him or them and that platform they got going on over there. I'm going to be up on there. They invited me to the platform to talk the sport of college football. So y'all be on the lookout for that, man. It's coming up next week, right after Black Friday or whatever, after Thanksgiving. We're going to strap it up. We're going to get here, and we're going to be talking some sports with College Football Talks Daily, man. Y'all do not be late for the show. When you will see it, pop up and be there. Texas A&M took care of business versus Sanford in the game. As we all knew that they would. We didn't think that they were not going to take care of business, and they stomped them. They did what they supposed to do, 48-0. And yes, I do give credit to that in the Mike Elko team, and the reason why is because they did what they were supposed to do in that game. It's supposed to be 48-0. It ain't supposed to be a close game. It ain't supposed to be a likable game. You know what I mean? When you playing a team like that, you're supposed to take care of business like that. And you're supposed to only hold them to 70 something, under 100 yards in the game, and don't let them score. And your quarterback throw 3 touchdowns and be 10 for 15, and your running backs have 247 yards and have 228 yards passing in the game. Yes, that's supposed to happen. That is absolutely supposed to happen. And I am extremely happy for that, right? I am. Stopping the plays behind the line, 11 tackles for a loss in the game. Shout out to the Texas A&M defense, but they took care of business versus Sanford, as I thought they would. We'll get up into the next week opponent when that comes up on the board. But for now, we're going to go over to the Oklahoma-Missouri game. And which I thought that game was game 2. I thought it was a good game, to be honest. Now, I thought that, to be honest, it was a slow start with Mayterre and that offense over there. That defense kind of kept them in the game. Well, it did keep them in the game because that Oklahoma defense has been playing better and better. Brent Venables' defense, it has been. And to be honest, they look dangerous, man. They look dangerous. Like, they really do. Those corners can get handsy at times, you know what I mean? But I think that call was like a nitpick call in a game a little bit, and but they are opportunistic. That defense is not our offense. Just gotta catch up. Mayterre, he has to catch up to this. He has to catch up to that defense, man. Because Oklahoma's season rides on the plate of John Mayterre. It just does, man. If Mayterre plays how he played earlier this season, man, they can play with anybody. Oklahoma can play with anybody. Defensively, yes, they can. Offensively, there's some question marks because, Xavier Robinson, is he going to get going? Is he not? But when you get in, 4 yards a clip, I mean, I would take that in the SEC against any defense, an SEC defense, to be honest, especially Eli Drinkwitz led team. I would take that. Xavier Robinson at running back doing this thing, he got to get going. But Mayterre, he got to find his stride too. And I think they may be saving it, but I would like to see Deion Burks get, more targets. You know what I'm saying? Get him going in that passing game and not just in the screen game. because he got busy on Michigan, and that's when he cracked seen on the screen. He flashed on my screen. Um, but I think there's games that they got a well versed wide receiver room. Like week in and week out, it's never just the same guy who's just stepping up. What is this? I can't pronounce his last name. Satiga, is that how you pronounce it? Because you know what I mean. But Satiga, he's pretty consistent. But week in and week out, I don't know if it's going to be like the number 12 or Dion Burks. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be a leading receiver. But they got a decent receiver room. But Mayter, you got the weapons. There's no excuse. Mayter has the weapons. He just has to play like he played in this game. And believe it or not, the game didn't look good. He missed on throws, but he did not throw an interception. And that's what, and if you can give that Oklahoma team what you gave them, 14 for 30, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, it's going to be a win with that defense. You know what I'm saying? But you got the weapons. Hit your passes when you're there. Every one of those receivers at Oklahoma, as far as I can see, can go and hit the home run ball. I think, and what I mean by it, you give them that pass, lead them the right way into their strides. A slant can go to the crib. I like the receivers. I really do. I like that team. Bro Pribula at Missouri, just this is his first year of experience. So, and he's in the SEC, but there's a lot that he has to work on in his game. A lot in his game that he has to work on. Can't turn the ball over when you playing these elite defenses like that. Because Missouri's defense is not that bad. It just isn't. And I got to be honest, it isn't that bad. It isn't that bad, but Ben Arbuckle, and he's that offensive coordinator at Oklahoma. He's really designs these plays for this team to get open, and the weapons is there. So there's no excuse for Mayter. He got to play better. Mayter has to play better, but they got that win, and that's what it was important. It was a great game. And Brent Venables did a great job with stopping Ahmad Hardy, one of the best running backs in college football, top 5 every day. Like Jeremiah Love, Ahmad Hardy, I love both. I like both of their play. Love both of their play. They get busy on the football field, and they did a great job with him. Great job, and that was key of making this Missouri team one-dimensional and really testing the receiver limits, and seeing what they really had out there. You know what I mean? They gotta play better though, and shore up things, right? But when you keep them on the field for so long, like that, that defense, 3 and outs, that can't happen. You gotta, you know what I mean? You gotta compliment your defense. But this team can play with anybody, I think. You know what I mean? That's all I gotta say. But shout out to Oklahoma Sooners fans for the win, man. Great game, man. Great win. Tough win. And y'all might is gonna be tested through this whole year, man. Ain't nothing coming for free from y'all, man. Nothing, man. Ain't nobody giving y'all nothing out there. Y'all gonna have to earn every single week. In this last game, we're gonna see what's up with y'all, man. But I thought it was a great game. Moving on to the next one. Miami at Virginia Tech. That game started off real slow. It started off slow. And you would think that Virginia Tech has something to do, but Miami, they just got into a groove. And the run game wasn't there for Miami this week, but that pass game was. And that's where Miami, that's the bread. That's where y'all bread is butter. Let's call it what it is. The receivers y'all got, man. Malachi Tony is unstoppable. He just is, yo. Regardless of whatever went go, I don't care what go. We're going off the field, right, with players. He reminds me of Tyreek Hill. He does in college football, and that's very dangerous because to me, Tyreek at his best is the best all-rounded receiver. He's just not a 50-50 guy. He's a possession guy. He's a great route runner, and Malachi Tony does it all. Put the ball in his hands and let him work. Let him work. That's all you got to do with Malachi Tony is put the ball in that young man's hand and let him go to work. Virginia Tech, I thought it would be, you know what I mean? And I thought that Carson Beck I thought he did a good job this game. I really did. I looked at it. And when I watched the game, I thought he did a good job. And it wasn't dinking and dunking. He was hitting his guys. And if he plays lights out like how he did for Virginia Tech, man, if he could have just stayed consistent like this, and it just seemed like he was just in a comfortable groove. Like the game plan was, he knew going in, like, this is for sure the game plan. This is what we're going to do if you see this, and this is what we're going to do if you see that. It didn't seem like he was guessing on the fly or just playing play by play. They went out there with a game plan set for Carson Beck. This is what you have to do. It just seems that way to me, and what Cristobal was doing, you know what I mean? And what the offensive coordinator at Miami, what they had planned out ahead of time. Like it was premeditated, you know what I mean? Like, so, and it looked good. It looked good. It really did. He was 27 for 32 in the game. I think it was like over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Malachi Tony had over 100-yard receiving game. He even got busy in a running game a little bit. You know what I'm saying? With the Jets. Like, and that's what you gotta do. He like, even if he's not getting the ball, right? You know what I'm saying? He's going to draw so much attention to him that you got guys like Lofton or Marion. You know what I'm saying? That can also, because believe it or not, Marion, coming from BYU, he can lead that team in receiving a game. You can win a game under him if Malachi Tony is not the primary target, if he's drawing all the attention. You know what I'm saying? So they got the pieces, man. They got the pieces. And shout out to Miami, bouncing back, but gotta get it going and gotta stay consistent. Nobody should have been able to mess with this team. They should be doing it. They should have been doing this to everybody. In my opinion, they should have been doing this to everybody. You see the talent. You see what they look like when they're clicking. The pass game is not inside zone run 20 times a game. You see what Miami could do, and I hope Cristobal seen that in his team, and he let him go, because when Miami gets up on you, and you got no choice but to be one dimensional, it's a problem. But they got to do better with the run. They got to do better with the runners. A lot of teams, if they do wind up sneaking into the playoffs for whatever reason, there's a lot of teams that can run the ball really well, and they got to be able to stop that. They got to be able to stop the run. But shout out to Miami. Shout out Hurricanes. Y'all got y'all one, man. Great game. They took down Virginia Tech 34-17. Miami took the dub home. I thought it was a great one, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of great games. I just love college football. Ohio State took care of business versus Rutgers like I thought they would, 42-9. They just continue on rolling, man. I don't think that this team can be stopped. Who thinks this team could be stopped? Because I tell you what, Brian Hartline, our offensive coordinator over there, phenomenal job what he's doing with Julian saying. I must say that, because he looks prepared. Teams have thrown everything at him. They have thrown everything at him. Like, I don't think that there's anything that quarterback has not seen. And he's well prepared for the moment. But the thing is, the opposing quarterbacks and opposing teams are not ready. They held Rutgers to under 200 yards of total offense in the game. I think under 150. in the game. I mean, I get it. They're a Big Ten opponent. That's Rutgers, though. I mean, we're not talking a cupcake. You could say that you could try to say that, but that's not it. But you know what I mean? And then they, to me, they won this game physically on the ground. They didn't have their leading receivers. They played without Cornell Tate and without Jeremiah Smith. Still pulled this game off. That just goes to show you what and how serious the offensive coordinator Brian Hartline and what Matt Patricia and what they're doing with that offense and defensively what they're doing. Because I don't even think everybody on the defense played. They know that they're going to the championship game. And they're probably trying to rest up some of their players. They're probably trying to rest them up. But we got Rutgers. We'll get this dub. And rest. Let's get some of these guys rest, and we're gonna go out there and do what they do. But Ryan Day, I think it's hard. I know what Curt Cignetti is doing over there at Indiana is great and phenomenal, but I think we got to start giving the coaches who consistently stay above water. We got to start appreciating their genius, their efforts, and when they're right, they're right. You know what I mean? We got to appreciate that. And what Ryan Day is doing right now to have his team sitting at 11-0 going into the last week, Michigan week, and they just won a national championship last year. I think that's a phenomenal job. It just is. Even though they took some L's last year, but they're sitting at 11-0 right now. I think it's hard to look at and to say that Ryan Day, what he's doing over there, he's for coach of the year. I think we got to start. You know what I mean? I think that conversation should be had, and because it's hard by I don't think it's easy at all because you're seeing a lot of great coaching, like Elko, Texas A&M, Curt Cignetti, Indiana, Kirby Smart, Georgia. Hell, I even think what the Burrs doing down there in Alabama isn't bad, to be honest. Brent Venables with Oklahoma, the year that they had last year, to be sitting where they're sitting right now. And then the list goes on and on of good coaches that I think that, can deserve it. But there's 3 undefeated teams as of right now. But the one team that has won a trophy and that is consistently there, that's under the most pressure week in and week out to me, is Ryan Day. Ryan Day and his staff. So I think coach of the year, I think to sum it up, it got to go to Ryan Day. If it came down to it, right? That's all I got to say. That. But there's really no but on that. Excuse me. Moving on, people. Moving on to the next one. Georgia took care of business versus Charlotte, 35-3. Just how I thought they would in that game. I thought they would take care of business. That's taking care of business. I thought that they would score a lot more, but when you're in a game like that, you want to be pedestrian. You want to get your backups some playing time, so you don't really want to go all out in a game. Gunnar Stockton did turn the ball over though, which was shocking. But that, like, to Charlotte, that's the Super Bowl, right? It's the Super Bowl game, and they just played really pedestrian in the game, right? They just did. Like, just call it what it is. You know what I mean? Nobody went off super crazy, but to have them score 35 on them to 3, I think they just did it basically. I don't think that they did any. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's Charlotte, right? It's just Charlotte. But they got the dub. Like, Gunnar Stockton was 17 for 21 in the game, 196 yards, no touchdowns, interception. Zachariah Branch in the game, y'all. He had 4 catches, 55 yards. Noah Thomas led receivers, 4 catches, 68 yards. Leading rusher was Nate Frazier in the game, 12 carries, 54 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bo Walker also had 48 yards and 3 tutties. All right. In that game against Charlotte in that 35-3 win. Bulldogs over the Charlotte 49ers. They got it in yesterday. All right. Now, pause. Alabama and Eastern Illinois. I thought Alabama took care of business, man. They took care of business. Being, do y'all really want me to, what I'm saying, break it down? But and I will, right? Because, like I said, you got to give them credit when it's due. When you go into a game and you win 56-0 versus a team that you're supposed to, Cupcake, call it what you want to call it, right? You know what I mean? You're supposed to take care of business like that. Let's get it. Let me get some water real quick. Let me get some water. Yep, water is so good for you. Yeah, but Eastern Illinois, yeah, they took care of business versus them. I think they held them to under 50 yards in a game, which they were supposed to. Straight domination. I mean, but that's what you're supposed to do. And that's why I give credit to these teams like that. Even when they play these teams like that, like, they're not supposed to get 100 yards on you. That's the loss. It's the little things that matter. And Alabama did everything that they were supposed to do in this game. Besides Ty Simpson turning the ball over twice, that can't happen. But that's because he went out there with that attitude of, and he ain't even turn the ball over all crazy, like, but he does it versus this team. Like, it kind, and it will scare you. Like, that's the one thing in this game that will scare you. Like, how did that happen? Why did that happen? Like, that can't happen, Ty. Like, you ain't turning the ball over versus D1, but he went out there like this team is. He didn't respect the team. He just didn't. I'm gonna just keep it like, we just got to keep it real and say what it is. Ty Simpson did not respect the team that he was playing, doing stuff out of the ordinary. Like, that's not what Ty Simpson does. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what he doing. It's not what he doing, bro. He just ain't turning the ball over or loose, but they just ran all over him. I mean, Jam Miller got a touchdown. I think what number 0 had the couple, number 28 had a touchdown, number 10 had a touchdown in that game. It was just to the point where I'm like, man, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just running all over him. Like, and that's what they just should have done. Play bully ball with the team, and they got the dub 56-0. But I was surprised in that game was to see that happen. I can't remember all of them because I think I missed the first interception in the game. I did miss that one, and I didn't go back and watch that game because I'm like, Alabama, they beat Eastern Illinois, and they held them to under 50 yards in the whole game, total offense. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what they supposed to do. And I don't even think it was under, like, I'm gonna get the exact number for you. They had 20 yards passing, right? They had 20 yards passing, 20. If you minus the sack yards, that the running back had 25 rushing, but if you minus the sack, the negative yards and the sacks, right? It comes out to 14 yards rushing. They had 14 yards rushing. They had 34 yards of total offense in the game. That's what they had. That's what you're supposed to do with a team like that, though. So that's a win. So you get what I'm saying? That's a win defensively for Kellen DeBoer's team. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. Cupcake or not, like, they can't get 100 yards. You can't go say you're going to go play at Cupcake and then you play them and then they get 150 yards on you. It would have made it even better had, you know what I'm saying, had that statistic thing that been there on Ty Simpson, those 2 interceptions that have been on the board for him. That would have been perfect. That would have been, you know what I mean? You can't argue that. You know what I'm saying? That would have been happy. But let's keep it moving on that. Let's keep it moving. Next game we got is Kentucky at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, man. Diego Piava, man. I don't know if he's leading the Heisman talk or not. I think this Heisman this year is really going to be tough. The Davey O'Brien, I think, is going to be tough because there's a few quarterbacks out there who just playing lights out. But I think when it comes to the best dual threats right now, it's looking kind of like Hayes King and Diego Piava. Marcel Reed, he got to use his legs more because I don't think he used it that much this year. But I think that if we talking dual threat quarterbacks, I think he looked pretty good. But Cutter Boley though in the game for Kentucky, he had 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in that game. I don't know moving forward. They try to put the whole game on him, but they just couldn't get the run game going. So Vanderbilt's run defense did show up, but Piava had a game. He was 33 for 39, 484 yards, 5 touchdowns. He had a pick in that game, but he was not dinking and dunking. That's the thing. Like, and he had 48 yards rushing. He was the leading rusher on the team. Like, he beat Kentucky like bad. Trey Richardson, one of his receivers, had 159 yards, 3 touchdowns, number 6 for them. Junior Sherrill had 115 yards and a touchdown. Cedric Alexander, the running back, he had some receiving yards, 59 receiving yards. Everybody got in on the passes yesterday. Who didn't get in with the passes because they just told him, man, he really threw for like 5. I think what he threw for 5 something. He threw for over 500, but in college they minus the sack or whatever, so that takes away from him. But yeah, he really threw for over 5 on Kentucky. So Piava did what he wanted to do. Clark Lee off, man. What Vanderbilt's doing is just like I don't know if when you got a team like them, right, that could to play, and if they sneak in the playoffs. If they get in, that's going to be a very dangerous team just because the way that they play, they're going to be tough to stop. They're going to be tough to stop because you got to account for Piava. First of all, you got to key on him. But I think when you get to trying to key on him, they do got other weapons that can get busy. And that defense is not bad. That's not a bad defense, not at all. Vanderbilt's defense is actually all right. When you really look, I mean, statistically, you could call it statistically, you could call it however you want to call it with Vanderbilt. Like, that's an all right defense over there. It really is. Statistically, or when you're looking at them on, from the film, like they do a good job versus team week in and week out. And I will say that's why that's another Clark Lee and his staff over there. They're doing a great job because it seems like they adapt to their opponents. Like their game plans be on point. I will say that their game plans be on point. They got a couple losses, yeah, but that's an SEC team. You got to remember that, that playing Vanderbilt being in the SEC is not easy. It's not easy to be 9-2 in the SEC. It's not easy at all. And I just don't know how the committee can keep out. And I say this, I said this, I don't know, this is 3rd week in a row I'm going to say this. How do you keep out 6 SEC teams out of this playoff? I don't know how you do it. If Vanderbilt wins their next game, even a 9-win SEC team is comparable and is playoff worthy. It just is. And especially if you play the teams that Vandy played this year, or you know what I mean? And it's just, you can't do that. You know what I mean? So if the Florida Gators, hypothetically speaking, if the Florida Gators had won 9 games with their brutal schedule that they have, how do you keep them out of the playoffs? If you're the committee, that strength of schedule alone that matters. That has to matter for something. That has to. I don't care. That has to matter. And I don't know how they do that. And that's why, it's dangerous to say this, but the SEC and the Big Ten, like they will probably be branching off to make their own league or in their own playoffs. It's sad to say that because it just isn't fair. Now I will say, like, if you look at the teams and the consistency of teams around, like it's not comparable, man. It's just not. It's not. And the level of play this year is getting there, but it's not quite all the way there the way you want it to be. All right. But shout out to Vandy, man. They keep rolling. 45-17 over Kentucky. Notre Dame rolled Syracuse 70-7. 70-7. Say it one more time. 70-7. Straight up slaughter. Straight up slaughter. Like that's just, man. I thought they was gonna hang 100. I'm not gonna lie. I thought we was really about to see 100 burger on the board. I think Marcus Freeman for sure pulled back on Fran Brown's team. He for sure pulled back. I just feel, man, for what Fran got going on, man, lost his quarterback early in the season, and it just shows. It really does. But you gotta have depth at that position. At the collegiate, at the Division I level, at any level, at the collegiate level. I'm gonna just say at the collegiate level. I'm not gonna just make this a D1 thing. At the collegiate level, you have to have more than one quarterback on your roster. You have to, man, because you just never know. And God forbid anything that happen or get banged up. You know what I'm saying? Especially with how many games they're playing now and the way that this playoff thing is. Yeah, because you need another quarterback. You do. You need more than one quarterback, and I think people are starting to see that now. And they doing that because look, CJ Carden, he only threw the ball 9 times in this game. They only threw 15 passes between two quarterbacks that they had go out there. They ran the ball 24 times. Notre Dame did. Every time down there, every time Jeremiah Love touched the ball, he scored. He averaged 21 yards per tote in this game. Jared Price, he averaged 17 yards per tote in this game, and he had a touchdown. And Kenny Mike Minchie, the backup QB, he had a touchdown to go with it, man. Like Notre Dame, man, they and that defense is the thing. Like we know Marcus Freeman is known for the defense, right? We knew that, but that defense is playing at a high level. That offense is, and when you hang in points like that, bruh, I don't know, man. What's up with Indiana? What's going on over there, South Bend, Indiana? You know what I'm saying? South Bend, Indiana. You got Kurt Cinetti, Marcus Freeman, those two Indiana teams just in one state. What's up with the state? What's going on in the water over there in the Midwest? What they got going on? Them boys is going. They putting up points. They are putting up points. Straight up. They said we going after it. But they got the dub, man. Shout out to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, man. Y'all got one, man. Y'all took care of business as y'all should. I thought y'all should have took care of business in that way versus Syracuse, and y'all did. So shout out to them. Yo, they were supposed to be Syracuse. Yeah, they took care of business too. That's how you handle business. 70-7. Leave no doubt. Yeah, we beat them, but we took care of business. They beat them like they was a cupcake. Jeez. And they just made a Pitt team that just beat Georgia Tech look bad too. So I mean, that gotta be the most dangerous number 9 ranked team in the country. That is a sneaky ranking for Notre Dame, man. They might, bro. I don't know, man. But Notre Dame might, because I don't see no other running back that may be going to the college football playoff out of all the teams that's going in there. I don't really see another. I'm trying to think of another running back. I mean, you look at Texas Tech, Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, to my Indiana, BYU might get in there, Oklahoma. I do like Xavier Robinson. I think Xavier Robinson could be a beast. I think so. Oh, Oregon. They backs is crazy. Oregon's backs. Well, we're going to get up into that in a second here. Because right now we got that Oregon at USC game. That was, man, SC, man. Give it up to USC, man. SC lost to Oregon 27-42. But, man, look, SC Trojan fans, like, I gotta give Lincoln Riley its just due, man, because like people think that Oregon wasn't, they're not what they are, man. Oregon is a physical football team. They are, man. They are, man. They, man. I just, man. I think they learned from last year. Like, look, man, titles, conference titles don't even matter, yo. Like, I don't even know if they matter, man. Like, seriously, I know they do because, like, I mean, because, like, and see, that's the thing, like, because people trying to say bowl games don't matter. Like, bowl games absolutely matter to me. They should matter to your school, period. They matter to me. I think bowl games, I think right now they should be playing them right now. You know what I'm saying? Turning some of these rivalry games like SC and Oregon, like I know it's normally it's called something else, but you know what I mean? Texas and Oklahoma, the Red River rivalry, um could be also be the I don't know the cardboard bowl. You know what I'm saying, or whatever it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying, that year. I don't mean to put no. I ain't trying to put no disrespect on the Red River rivalry, but that's the first thing that came in my mind. I see cardboard around me, boxes. You know what I'm saying? But that's just what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Turn it on to that. You know what I'm saying? Use it first week of the game, week 0 or something. I don't know. Like, but they definitely mean something. But Oregon, and I don't want to get off here, but because Oregon, they are a tough team, but it was a good game. It really was. I think we seen, um, and I know my VA had 2 interceptions, but still, like he still played good. He still played good. Had 3 tutties in that game. He did the one thing that they just wasn't well balanced in this game. Like they couldn't run on Oregon, so it was all put on my Via's shoulders. Had they been able to run just a little bit, you know what I'm saying, better with King Miller, um, and Brian Jackson, had they been able to run the ball a little bit better, SC, I think it would have opened up more. But that just goes to go to show what Oregon's defense is really capable of defensively. You know what I'm saying? And that's where people's getting it twisted out with Oregon, because you see them playing these tough teams, but people still ain't trying to put the respect on these Northwest team, on the Northwest team in Oregon. Like Oregon is really tough. They're not to be played with. Like this Oregon team under Dan Lanning can absolutely win the college football the national championship. They can. They can do it. Yes, they can. And man, I look. I can't even pronounce the defensive coordinator's name. I can't. But Tosh, he did a fantastic job, I thought, with the brain game and trying to make him one dimensional. But when you tried to put the game on my Via's shoulders, he stepped up and he answered the call. Yo, like 300. I mean, look, he was 25 for 43, 306 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Take the 2 picks out of it. Got to manage the game a little better, but they couldn't run the ball. That's all they had. They could not run the ball on offense. Tosh, defensive coordinator over at Oregon, couldn't do nothing with him. And I mean, Will Stein, like, man, he like people's not giving Will Stein his just due. Like, you got to give him his just due. And shout out to the quarterback coach or the quarterback coordinator, whatever they got over there at Oregon, because Dante Moore has played consistent throughout the year. Some people will go back to that Iowa game, but you don't remember. Y'all, it's football, but it's cold rain and it's raining. The ball's slick. You know what I'm saying? And he still even led them up the field to take that game over and win it late in the game, even in a cold rain like that. So that's phenomenal. But he was 22 for 30 in this game. Yes, he threw a pick. Yes, it wasn't all dink and dunk, but he had 2 touchdowns. But just look at what he's able to do, how he processes the defense when he get up there to the line, like, and then he got weapons like Whittington and Davis, and they like who's gonna run the rock for them, who's gonna carry the ball. You know what I'm saying? And Kenyon Sadiq, I'm trying to tell you, Kenyon Sadiq, I'm telling you, that tight end, that's the best. Like, I don't know. Like, I think that's who we need. Pittsburgh Steelers, Kenyon Sadiq. We need him. Let's get him. Go with Washington. Let's get him. Because John not gonna be there. Let's get him ASAP. Like I don't know what team, but I think he probably look good with the Titans. Though I like to see him with Cam Ward down there at the Titans. King and Sadiq. I think give him a tight end like that. It's lights out. You know what I'm saying? But look, we'll talk about that later. But King and Sadiq, he was missing him, and he's still missing a receiver. That was one of his main targets. Like, you still got Malik Benson out there. Still got Malik Benson. Oregon, but look, man. Long story short, they scored 40. They put up 40 points on the USC team that I don't think anybody could just do that to. No, I don't. They're going to be a 9. I think they might be a 9-win team. I don't know who they got next week, but we'll be taking a look at that here soon. But that's a good football team. SC, it is. That's a good football team. They can play with the best of them. They couple pieces away defensively to make that team dominant. I think. And I think that they'll get that. Hopefully they get that. But Oregon, that's a well-rounded team, sneaky team. They took the 1L to Indiana, which is another very well good team, and they well coached, and they make minimum bad decisions during the game. Like, they don't shoot themselves in the foot with a lot of penalties that these other teams may get. And that's what really makes Indiana good, because they not only do they play good football, but they play good, clean football. You know what I'm saying? They ain't getting penalized for stupid stuff. And Oregon lost to that team by 10. But Oregon is a good team. And I do think, yes, they can be fighting for the national championship trophy. They could be. In the past 2 years, he only 2 games out of they 13-1 last year. Because they got kicked out first round, and he's sitting at 10-1 now. So that's 23-2 in the past 2 years. Oregon's looking at 23-2 overall record in the past 2 years. That's a great record. That's a great record. That's a great record. They right there. Arch Manning, man, with the bounce back. Yeah, just if Arch give us a full season of what we seen him do versus Arkansas, I think he'll be ready to go. He's coming, and this is just about where I expected Arch to be at this point, moving into his this late into the SEC season, his first SEC season, moving into his next SEC season. This is where I expected him to be. Now, you know what I'm saying? And now just to stay there consistently is going to be a hard thing. It's easier said than done, especially for somebody like me who's just on a microphone talking about it, right? And not really being out there. But I think that from what he was asked to do, to throw the ball 30 times in a game, he was 18 for 30, but he took care of the ball. He managed the game well, and that's all you want out of a quarterback. Like, that's all you really want out of a quarterback. I think he did a great job of what he was asked to do, and I think, of course, he got, regardless of what we want to say about Eli Manning, great game manager, and Peyton Manning was also. Like, so his uncles is two great NFL quarterbacks. So we know he's getting good advice from those guys. He's not listening to people like me that might say something one week, but look, I'll be a man to come out and say the next week, like, when my information changes and when I see him playing the way he played, he didn't get help from some of his receivers. Was some of those throws on him in the game? Yeah, but he didn't get help from some of the receivers all the time neither. But he threw for 389 yards, had 4 touchdowns in the game. That is an SEC team defense, even though they got to run the ball better, I think, as a team. But I think Windsor did a little bit better. But they definitely got to be able to run the ball, a little bit better than that. But I like what I seen out of Arch. I do. I really like what I seen out of Arch in this game, what he was able to put together in the way that he did it. because if you manage the game like that and you're hitting your targets the way that you did, um, if Livingston is going to be the only receiver that's going to show up for y'all, then give him the opportunities. He had 2 deep balls in that game, and he got a couple deep balls in that game. Caught him, went in, but Wingo, he was phenomenal in that game. I thought he had a great game. I thought he was, to me, of course he had the most impact out of all the receivers in that game, but to get him going like that, I think he can help with our rushing game too. You know what I'm saying? To be honest, like to help get him in a jet. Let me see a couple jet sweeps with him. You know what I'm saying? Open up, help with the run game a little bit. Get him the ball. He's dangerous when the ball is in his hands. Ryan Wingo, he just is. Mosley played good at receiver. I thought. Um, Arts he just hit his guys in this game, man. He did. Even though I knew that, Arkansas, that was their weak point area. They struggled stopping the pass, but these SEC athletes, man. Now Arkansas, I know they're not a good team, but he did what he was supposed to do: take care of the ball, manage the game, and don't lose the game and get it in, man. He did. I think he ran one in too yesterday too. He ran one in too. So and they wind up beating the Razorbacks 52-37. Great game from the Texas Longhorns. They played well as a unit too. They did. But they played well in that game, man. Put up 52 points. That's dangerous. What else we got? What else? What's the other games? Tulane versus Temple. Tulane beat Temple 37-13 in that game. Now, I thought that because they kind of started off like real slow in that game. To me, I was like, man, I'm like, what's going on? Because it kind of, to me, it kind of started off like, I'm like, I thought they would have more points than that, but look. And I just thought they had more points. They would score more points than that. You know what I mean? Against Temple, to be honest. But I mean, going in halftime up, I think it was 21-7, something like that. And then in the second half of that game, they played good. They played consistent through the whole game. Tulane did. I thought it was just a very slow. Started off slow, but it just played consistent through that game. Just methodically, just let's get it here. Let's just get it methodically. We ain't got to go reach for the big play. We ain't got to get there. We just stay right here and play D. You know what I mean? And I thought it was a well put together game. We ran the ball well yesterday versus them. I think number 25, he showed out versus Temple. Man, he was getting busy. He was getting busy. What's his name? I can't remember. Let me get Jamari McClure, running back, Tulane, getting busy. Oh man, he had a $122 on the ground. Jake Ratcliffe he was 17 for 28, 231 yards. He had 2 touchdowns in that game. Didn't really look that well, but Shaz Preston was the lead receiver in the game, 96 yards, and he had a tutty. Tulane, man, because they got some good players on that team, man. They really do, man. They really do. Tulane got some good players on that team, man. It just sucks, you know what I mean? They really do. But to me in the game, when I sat there and I watched the game, to try to sum it up and try to make it make sense, they did really well. Tulane's linebackers did a really good job fitting on defense. Their gap assignments, the defensive line took very good care of that. Because they stopped the run. They fit it well against Temple. Temple just they couldn't get the run game going. Tulane did a phenomenal job with stopping that. And they're right now, I think they're sitting in first place. I think the highest ranked G5 game conference. And I will say this about Tulane. I do like Tulane to be in that position. I do, because I do think that they have a team that can compete nationally, and if they got in, that it just wouldn't be a blowout. They probably wouldn't win the game, but I don't think it'll be a blowout. And that's what I was looking at, and that's what I got into about with James Madison. But James Madison also did beat Washington State, and that means something. So I do now. I will say this: James Madison does, without a doubt, deserve to be ahead of Tulane because they're undefeated in the Sun Belt. They lost to Louisville. That loss doesn't look so good. That 14-point loss doesn't look that good. But I think Tulane got a loss like that on their schedule. And then when you look at, they beat Washington State. Washington State, they really, I thought they should have beat Ole Miss. Either Ole Miss was sleepwalking playing with them, but they should have beat Ole Miss. Washington State should have beat them, and I could talk about it because when you watch those games like that and you see what's going on, like Ole Miss really did not have an answer for what Washington State was doing to them. Like they just didn't. They did not have an answer, and the thing is like if Washington State would have had, if Maytier and, dang, I forgot the receiver's name. Forgive me for that, man. Jeez, went to the Patriots. They'd have had him and Maytier, they would have beat Ole Miss by 7 or by 10 for sure. It was a really good defensive game, and it looks like Washington State's defense is there. They play well. They just on the field all the time, and they're not very opportunistic. You know what I'm saying? Like causing a turnover. They're stopping people. They get some turnover. They'll get to the quarterback for sure. They get to the quarterback, but that offense just, they need a playmaker. They need a playmaker on that offense. They need some speed. At Washington State, they get some speed. They get, you know what I mean? And they're there. They're there. They're right there. You know what I'm saying? And some of those losses become wins. You know what I mean? Because they should have beat Ole Miss. I'm not gonna lie. You watch that game, go back and watch that game. I want y'all to go back and watch that Washington State and Ole Miss game and tell me that Washington State shouldn't have beat Ole Miss. But shout out to Tulane, because Tulane took care of business versus a Temple team that I think is got some good players on there. And they beat them 37-13, took care of business. Shout out to them. Kansas State and Utah. That game was crazy good. It was a great game. Like when I watched the game, I'm like, man, like they balling out there. It was just a back and forth scoring game. I didn't think that game would go down like that, to be honest. I did not think that. I did not think that Utah, the way that they're built physically, I like, how did they let, and then Kansas State, like I did not see this offensive line running like that. Like, and that was my thing. I'm like, what this offensive, I just said it last week, this Kansas State offensive line has not been playing consistent the way that I thought they would. But I've been saying, this is a playoff game for teams like Kansas, for teams like Sanford, and teams that's playing against these teams, the top 25 teams. It's their championship. You know what I mean? It's their bowl game, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it's there for them, and they're gonna play hard, and they're gonna continue this on next week. Like their team is built on physicality. They just play physical football all through. You know what I'm saying? And Kansas State just ran all over him, man. He did, man. He had it, and that shout out to Kansas State and our offensive line, man, because I thought they should have won the game. They should have won that game, man. Honestly, I mean, look, Um, Joe Jackson had a phenomenal game, man. When it was just one of the that's a classic performance. Regardless of the loss, that was a classic performance out of Joe Jackson, man, the running back for Kansas State, man. He had 24 carries for 293 yards, and he had 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns in a game. And to be honest, he did whatever he wanted to do to Utah. But that Kansas State offensive line is the real MVP. Y'all, shout out to them. The offensive lines don't get credit all the time, but that offensive line absolutely dominated the defensive line for Utah. They had a great back and forth game in there. Avery Johnson, the trouble, it just continues on for him. I know he's getting a development. He needs at will, at Kansas State, but he needs more. You know what I'm saying? Got to get more. And Devin Dampier, man, he played good. He was 18 for 33, 259 yards, had 2 touchdowns in the game. He had a Wayshawn Parker had 100 yards receiving in the game. They came back late. Devin Dampier came back late, did his thing. He had 100 yards rushing on the ground, like 95 yards or something like that. But he came back and he did his thing. So for there, you know what I mean? You got to give it up to him, man. Got to do his thing, yo. You got to. Got to do his thing, bro. Got to, man. You know what I'm saying? Got to do his thing right there. So, yeah, for that, Utah. Next one. So the next one we got, man, is the battle of the freshman QBs. The battle of the freshman quarterbacks. I knew it was going down. It's definitely it went down yesterday. Michigan and Maryland, Mike Locksley's team taking on Sharon's team, man. The Michigan Wolverines played the Maryland Terps. Hey yo, I thought that they was I thought in that game, that game started off great, and it just didn't end that way. But look, I thought that Michigan would get this win. I really did. But these teams, they got some young guys on that team on both sides of the ball, and like I said, man, I don't think this is the last that we're going to see this Michigan and Maryland team face up. I think the next time that they face up, Maryland will be a lot better. And they'll do a better job. Now they can't let up 100 yards rushing in a game running. They out physical. Michigan just bullied them. And that's what I said in this game. They got to get those trenches sewed up in Maryland. He got to get those trenches right. If he get those trenches right in Maryland, they will be better. Bryce Underwood in the game, he was 16 for 23, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brian Kazal was the leading rusher in that game, had 20 carries, 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. Leading receiver was Andrew Marsh, the true freshman, 5 receptions, 76 yards, 1 touchdown. He showed up, and I thought he would. They got young receivers over there. They're doing this with a young team. This is a 9-2 Michigan team that is led by a true freshman at quarterback offensively, and that is young. This is a young team doing this. This is not a and that's what's crazy. That, you know what I mean? And so in Ohio State too, like these teams are not the guys, the stars on these teams are not old. Jeremiah Smith, I think, is a sophomore. And they're talking about letting him go to the NFL this year. He's not a junior. Julian saying, I think, is a freshman. He's not, you know what I mean? Or a sophomore, one of them, you know what I'm saying? But Bryce Underwood, but we talk about Michigan right now. In Michigan, Bryce Underwood is a true freshman. Marsh is a true freshman. Malik Washington is a true freshman quarterback. He threw a pick in the game, yeah, but he's a true freshman. Got to take the training wheels off him at this point, Mike Locksley. Look, y'all 4-7. Y'all probably not going to get into a bowl game. But you got to take the training wheels off of him in this last game. Y'all can't keep dunking. Like, let him throw the ball. Let him throw the ball. Let Malik Washington get comfortable and play his game. Farouk had a touchdown in this game, and he's been inconsistent at times for him to be a veteran guy. But let him get busy, man. He can do it, man. Let him throw the ball, and I think they let him do that in this Michigan game, and it didn't look bad. It didn't look horrible. You know what I mean? But but if he didn't turn the ball over, I think that would have made it look a little bit better statistically. The one pick, but I thought he did all right, man. I thought he did all right. But he gotta play. You gotta take the training wheels off of him. Let Malik Washington play the way that you let Christian Martin throw the ball when he came in the game. You know what I'm saying? Let Malik Washington give him that same autonomy to do that. And at least I want to see him do that. And then if it don't look good, then I mean, y'all can make a decision based off that. But yeah, I want to see Malik Washington get busy and have that. But Michigan, I thought it was great. I thought it was good. It started off well. Then in that way, they came out firing. I think they came out, if I'm not mistaken, when I seen it, I thought they had like the first touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. I thought they came out, they scored the first touchdown, and then they tried to keep it close. Halftime, I think it was like 21-10. And then, it got ugly in the second half. They just, they couldn't defensively. Maryland can keep up. But, the 3 and outs, that doesn't help neither. You know what I mean? But when you just keep throwing screen, wide receiver screen, and that's not going to help. You know what I mean? That's not going to help. Little slants, and it's not helping. It's not helping the fact. Open it up. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make them play conservative. I don't know why, but it is what it is. And at this point, I don't know if Mike Locksley, I think he might be better to move on somewhere. I think, the UAB job or something might be good for Locksley right now at this point down at American Athletic, to be honest, because Maryland, I think it's about time for them to make a change in what's going on, because it's not there. He had a first couple good runs, but I just, it's not getting the man, oh man. And I hate to say it, but it's the truth. It's the truth. The truth is the truth, right? So TCU played Houston. They wound up being Houston 17-14. Very good game. Low scoring game. It went back and forth. In that game, I thought when I watched it, it was I guess you could say it's would have been a boring game to some fans, but to me, I thought it was a good game. I thought, I mean, when I watched it, I'm like, all right, I thought they did very good with Josh Hoover, but they just couldn't capitalize on the turnovers. They defensively, they did good. Offensively, they just couldn't really get nothing going. They just couldn't. And when you got Connor Wegman was the leading rusher in the game. That they just couldn't punch it in at all. They just couldn't, man. It looked bad, man. It looked like offensively. I don't know why Willie French's team, they just hit a wall. They hit a wall, man. I don't know why they hit this wall this late, but I mean, shout out to Sonny Dykes and his staff. They did good defensively against a very good Big 12 opponent in Houston. Held them to 14 points throughout the game. And shout out to Houston too, because I mean, they held TCU, the passing team, to only 17 points in the game. Now it's regardless of the stats, they kept them out of the end zone and kept them from scoring. That's what matters, right? All right. Pittsburgh beating Georgia Tech. I talked about that earlier. I'm not, what I'm saying? I ain't really got to get back into that. Rewind the tape. They beat Georgia Tech 42-28. Very good game. And Georgia Tech, Illinois losing to Wisconsin was crazy. That was crazy. I would have not, like, that's crazy. 27-10. that's Wisconsin that we was looking for this year. That's the Wisconsin team with like how Penn State they took care of business. Like Penn State, they just beat TA all over Nebraska. That's what we pretty much thought would happen with this Wisconsin team. We thought this 4-7 Wisconsin team right now would look like the way they look right now. We did. To be honest, like they ran the ball, they played really tough, really tough. Darren Dupree was the man in this game. He had 131 yards, 2 touchdowns, running the ball. They really didn't. They have no passing game. They didn't even throw for over 100 yards. They just out physical them. They played a physical game. Like the pieces is there. I mean, so the team that Luke Fickell had built. I mean, the pieces are there on the team. It just wasn't playing, and that can happen. Sometimes a voice can get stale in the room. You know what I mean? So somebody's philosophy, and because the pieces are there at Wisconsin. I seen a team that dominated, a team full of seniors that is also built with a head coach who bases on physicality. Like come on, like Illinois, they ain't soft. That's a physical football team, and that's a lot of seniors on that team. A lot. And from Wisconsin to play like that. But man, I gotta give credit to the defensive end over there at Wisconsin, man. He had a phenomenal game, man. They couldn't do nothing with him. He was all up in Luke Altmaier's face all day long. All day long. I mean, even when he didn't get sacks, he was still getting back there causing havoc. Tennessee and Florida, that's it. Shout out to Wisconsin, man. Shout out to them. Shout out to them, man. For real, man. Jeff Grimes, Mike Tressel over there, man. Shout out to them guys, man. For real. Tennessee beating Florida 31-11. I thought that game would be closer. But Lagmeyer, DJ Lagway looked like DJ Lagway. I didn't expect DJ Lagway to struggle this much, but I will say that I thought that he got some things to work on, man. He had a lot of things to work on, and like a lot of these quarterbacks out here, man. Like a lot of these quarterbacks, they got so much to work on. Like you can't just say that they're going to be Heisman candidates preseason and are going to do this and going to do that. But I thought he had SEC experience enough to know better to what a lot of the mistakes and a lot what he's going through. I don't know if that's credit to his receivers or what, man, but they just could not get it going. They couldn't get it going. Like, I mean, Ball did his job. Ball did his job, but they just ran into a Tennessee team, and I mean, that did his thing because Lagway was 11 for 17, 116 touchdown. Just couldn't get nothing going. That was a bunch of dinking and dunking going on in this game, and you gotta hit the ball, deep ball, man. Gotta throw the ball. Gotta get it out of your hands. I mean, Joey Aguilar coming from Appalachian State going to Tennessee, a G5 program, now on the SEC team at quarterback, and has outplayed a lot of these guys who came in 5 stars. You know what I mean? Outworking guys, and in a very good system, hypo system, but still, like Tennessee came out the Vols, did the Gators in. Shout out to the Tennessee Vols, man. They played a phenomenal game. They did. They played good. Thought it would be closer. I thought Florida even had a chance of pulling that one off. Wrong. Tennessee took care of business 31-11. Took care of them. Got them up out of there. We ain't even gonna make that a debatable. They gone. Let's get them up out of here right now. We ain't playing with them. That's what they said. BYU beating Cincinnati. I told you I wasn't gonna sleep on this BYU team tomorrow. I'm done playing with them. I do think that BYU is a good football team. I do think that BYU, you better respect BYU when you play them. You better respect them. To name your kid Tiger and Bear, that's dope. Tiger Bachmeyer and Bear Bachmeyer. They both on the same team. You named his sons Tiger and Bear. That's dope. That's their names. So Bear Bachmeyer in the game was 15 for 25, 127 yards. He ain't throw a touchdown, didn't throw a pick, took care of the ball there well. This is a true freshman quarterback. Ran the ball, big boy, ran the ball in for a touchdown. And his brother Tiger is just a B. He come in and Tiger Bachmeyer comes in the game and he just plays physical. They're just two physical guys, man. They are, and that team is just a team. And boy, did they play that. Like Cincinnati is good too. They not weak, and they took care of business in this game. They did. Brendan Sorsby tried everything he could in this game. He just couldn't get over the BYU. He just couldn't really do nothing. He was 25 for 38. Brendan Sorsby, 300 yards, had 2 touchdowns. He had a pick in the game. He also had 30 yards rushing in his game, and he was a leading rusher. It was very one-dimensional, but didn't get help from his receivers at times in the game. That happens a lot often. I don't know if that's the moment or what, but Cyrus Allen was the leading receiver. He had 51 yards and a touchdown. Covey caught the running back Covey he had a nice catch on the sideline over Kelly in the game. Man, it was a beautiful catch, and didn't score. But Sorsby, he's played a lot better. Sorsby has played a lot better. He has consistently gotten better. I will give Cincinnati credit on this, and I will say this about Cincinnati: what they have built over there and what they're doing with their quarterbacks. They're definitely doing something. Scott Scatterfield over there is doing something fantastic over there. I got to look into see what that quarterback coach is over there, because they're doing their job. I think his name is Brad Glenn. Brad Glenn is the offensive coordinator over there at Cincinnati, doing a great job with Brendan Sorsby, because he was at Indiana a couple years ago when they were 3-9 or something like that. They had a 3-9 year. He was the quarterback of that team. Been at Cincinnati, and he's gotten better every year. He's gotten better every year. He's been at Cincinnati. He's definitely progressed in this game in college football. So I will say what Scott Scatterfield and the offensive coordinator over there, Brad Glenn, is doing. I like it. And Tyson Verrett is our defensive coordinator at Cincinnati. They're doing a great job. But I'm not taking nothing away, not taking anything away at all what BYU is doing with not at all. Not at all. I'm not even Kalani Sitake. I mean, you got to mention him with the coach of the year conversation because of what he's done at BYU and what he's done with that team. He's built that team. He's built that team into a powerhouse. It really is. BYU is definitely a powerhouse. You cannot look at that team and say that it's not, because it is. And you run into it, you're gonna have a long day. Powerhouse team over there. All right. Moving on. Next game, shout out to BYU, man, getting that dub. Last game of Arizona State taking care of business in Colorado, 42-17. I broke that game down. Talked a lot about Colorado in the beginning. So if you want to watch that, go to the beginning of the video. All right.